here we go. I always do this, and I didn't do it this time, so I'm glad I checked. So welcome to ZBrush Live. This is Kermaco Designworks, character and mech design, and using ZBrush, of course. And yeah, so you know the drill. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and if you have any questions, you can ask during the stream in the chat, and I will respond to the best of my knowledge. And also, if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube or somewhere else, you can leave your question in the comments, and hopefully somebody will get back to you. Okay, and with that, I just wanted to do a sound check, and I don't know if you guys can hear me okay. If you can, let me know in the chat. There's a few of you on there, and once we get that conversation, we can get going. All right, turn this off, and we're going to be working on this robot still. Let's get it over here. Do a snapshot. Oops, didn't want to do that. S, and just 1 second here. All right. I think we're good to go. All right. I still would like somebody to tell me that you can hear me and see my screen okay. I think it should be fine, but I just want to make sure. Also, if there's anybody here that watches this on a regular basis, let me know if the full screen resolution works better rather than going 1080p. And okay, audio is good. All right, Acadian, thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, cool. Thank you guys, ladies or gentlemen, or bots, I guess. Because you never know. All right, so I haven't been on for a while. Apologize for that. It's not by design. I had an appointment last Friday. I think not last Friday, but the Friday before, I think. And they had the ZBrush Summit during that, and so you know, they had to take my time slot, which is fine. ZBrush Summit was awesome. So many new things to learn, and so many great artists to see. I really liked some of the sessions. id Software always brings it. Funny enough, I had no desire to play the Doom game before I saw their ZBrush Live thing. And after I did, I'm like, oh, I got to play this game just to look at the art, if nothing else. And it did not disappoint. You saw me ZBrushing. Are you talking about the Sculpt off? Or did you see me ZBrushing out in the wild on my iPad? Or on my own channel? I have been, by the way. So the good news is my Gnomon workshop reverted back to me. And so I'm actually putting it out on my YouTube channel. So if you guys don't know, If you go to my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/user/Kermaco, and I'll talk about where you can find my stuff later. But I basically have all these videos of that title I had for Gnomon, and now it's available for free on YouTube. So, and the best way to watch it is you can go to the playlist here, and if you view the full playlist, you can see I've got chapters 1 to 12. I just uploaded 11 and 12 today, and so I am uploading these as I go, and I think there's over 20 of them, so I'm doing 2 a week, and you guys can keep up. But this is a really good tutorial to watch to kind of see my process. I know I've recommended it to many people on here when it was at Gnomon, and now it is available on my YouTube channel. So go watch it, and also if you like it, again, like and subscribe and do all those things, because I'm trying to create some sort of a steady presence on YouTube. So yeah, the Sculpt off, I didn't do as well as I wanted to. I had a crash. So I was saving kind of rigorously at the beginning, and saving at like times where I thought, you know, things were, I'd done a lot of work or things looked really good. And I crashed in like the weirdest place using ZModeler on a very simple object, and I don't know why. So that lost me about half an hour worth of work. But I did finish it, and I did do something that was okay. I might at some point finish that work. Maybe I'll do it online, I don't know. But I had a really good kind of elaborate thing in mind, and I hadn't really practiced it, but I definitely thought I would make it work. But unfortunately, the crash set me back. And if I learned one lesson, and it's that you autosave all the time. You don't depend on, you don't kind of, you know, think that it's going to be okay because you're in an area where crashes don't happen that often. So it was a good lesson to learn, although you think I'd have learned and taught that lesson many times. But yeah, no, it was really frustrating. Actually, if you watch the video, you can see when it happens, and I totally like get pissed off. Rightfully so, but you know, you just have to get back on that horse and keep at it, and I did. So I'm glad I finished. I'm not too happy that I didn't win, but you know, part of it is the fun of it, I guess, and it's definitely fun. All right. Let's see. With hard surface, do you only Dynamesh cleanup or ZBrush it, ZModel for clean surfaces? Yes, I do. I do both. So I, you know, use Dynamesh as much as I can to get the shape that I want, and once I'm happy with the shape, I will ZBrush it and probably retopo it as well. So that is the case. Yeah. I think I have the thing here somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so this is my entry right here. And basically, oh, didn't want that to happen. So basically, I had a kind of a saucer here. And the goal was to have this kind of be a spiral that's coming out of the ground. And I mean, I got this part done. I just was going to make it transparent. I didn't have the time to do that, or somehow it didn't do it. And then I would also have particles around here as well. And the thing that lost me a lot of time is that basically this person is conjuring up this huge creature, this huge warrior with the 2 swords. And this is where I lost a lot of work, is like I was kind of working on the armor and the helmet and everything like that. So I kind of hurried it up. I mean, it's, you know, considering I just had 3 hours and I picked a very ambitious thing to do, which is my other big mistake, is every time I do these things, I pick something really ambitious, and I should not do that. I should stick to something simpler. And, you know, the one that won was a pretty, just was a bust of of some sort of a wolf or something like that, and yeah, so it wasn't like anything elaborate, but it did for some reason win. So congratulations to the person who won. And yeah, I mean, there were some that I thought were really, really strong and they didn't win. I was really shocked about that. But, once you do the work, it's out of your control. But I definitely didn't think mine was a winning piece, for sure. I mean, after that crash, it was all about just getting it done. Oh, thank you. You know what? It doesn't really have to take that long. It depends on the shape. So yeah, you're right. I mean, there are times where it's really kind of difficult to get something clean, but sometimes you can get away with doing stuff. So I'll retopo something here so you guys can see what my process is. Most of the time, I don't even have to manually retopo. Most of the time, I am good with using ZBrush, but sometimes I have to. And I don't know if you guys saw the new retopo brush coming in, the next version of ZBrush. They said before the end of the year, so I'm hoping it's sooner rather than later. We still have how long left? We don't have that much longer left too, so hold on to your hats, guys. So yeah, that retopo brush looked really, really good, and when it comes out, I have a lot of stuff to tell you folks about it, but let's wait for it to come out first. All right, so here I'm just basically getting these pieces kind of to be a little bit more elaborate, and I should go through, because I do have things covering these things up, so I don't want to be doing work in areas where I don't need it. Okay, so there's this. I don't know if I need this anymore. I think I don't. Let me take one more look. Do we need this kind of part here? Kind of looks neat, protruding out like this. Yeah, I think ambition kills you. You're right, and also I think I mean, I would have done it. It's not something I couldn't do. Like I wouldn't have taken the risk of doing all that if I didn't think I would get it done. So, and I had everything set up, but once you have a crash or something like that, it completely throws you off. It throws off your timing. Not that it, I don't usually practice my sculpt off sessions. I kind of like to do them raw because it's more exciting that way. I mean, the worst thing is like having done something and, having to do it again on camera. I think that's kind of not as exciting. And you have to leave something to chance. So I had a pretty good idea of what I was going to do. I'd basically done the individual parts, like I'd worked on the particles and it worked for me, as well as all the other things. So I knew I was going to get it done. And I knew that I'd spend a little bit of time on the composition, and I never really had the composition in mind 100%, so I was going to try a few things, and I was going to leave myself enough time to do it. So yeah, but once you get a crash, you just kind of completely throws you off your game, and you're like, how do I do this? How do I, get to the end? What is more important? How can I get something out there that's passable? And, working under pressure is kind of a fun thing to do. I mean, I'm not completely, unhappy with the piece. I think it's okay, but it could have been so much better. But anyway, I'll finish it in either on my stream or here at some point, because I definitely think it could create a great image. But yeah, I'm glad I participated. I was surprised there was a big list of artists, and I thought these guys were going to be on, and I was worrying a little bit because I'm thinking like, oh my God, there's going to be so much talent on this, and but a lot of them didn't show up. I'm wondering why. Probably busy time of year. Who knows? But some great heavy people showed up and did some amazing work. Like I personally really liked Vichar's piece. I thought that was really neat. I definitely thought that would win something. I'm surprised it didn't. And then who else? Yeah, there was another one that was really, really cool, rendered in Redshift, this kind of vampire-looking thing. And I thought he would win something, and he didn't either. So who knows? I mean, Maxon doesn't choose these. They have independent judges, so, you know, and the judges have their criteria. All right, what else is going on? Anyway, I've been having a few kind of tough weeks. I haven't really had the time to work on this at all, so I'm just kind of picking it up from like where I left it, which was when it's been almost a month I haven't touched this, so I'm trying to figure it out. How long does it take? I keep getting these questions. Let me ask you. How about this? I'll answer your question if you answer mine. My question to you is, why does it matter? Why are you asking that question? Because I get asked that same question again and again, and I'm wondering why you, my friend Erlock82, why you are asking that question. And it's funny, every one of these things that I watch, people always ask that question. How long does it take you? How long does it take you? Like time seems to be the most asked about thing. All right, I think I did some different things with the legs here. Let me see if... Shield, okay, so these are the arm shields. They're good. I'm still waiting for the person asked about the timing. I have a whole other head here. Or parts of it. Here we go. Comics Legend. Hi, Kermaco. Suppose you have a clean mesh, but you use Boolean shapes to add details to it at the end. Do you go back and retopo or zero mesh with the Booleans applied? Okay, so Elrock, let me answer your question first, and then Comics Legend, I'll show you how I would do that. Just to have an idea of how long professionals often take on projects, so I can practice my training in case I have a job opportunity. Okay, so all right, so I'll answer the question based on what you said. There is no there's no guideline for how long things take with professionals, because I've seen professionals be really, really fast and efficient, and I've seen other professionals take a very long time to do simple things. And both of these folks are professionals, and both of them do amazing work, and all of them have amazing portfolios. Now, I think there are some guidelines in the industry of how long things should take. However, I've seen that not be as strict as a guideline, right? I think nobody's going to hire you because you're fast. They're going to hire you because you're good. And if you're good, then it depends on how long it takes you to get certain things done in such a way where it does, it is in the quality of what you usually do. So, like if somebody hires, I don't know, let's pick an example of an artist. I don't know. I mean, I just recently saw Predator, Badlands, and boy, was I not expecting that movie to be that good. It was really, really good. So if you take one of the artists from there, for example, and, there were creatures that were sculpted or whatever and designed. So if you look at how long those folks took, and they're really good artists, I mean, nobody hired them because they were fast. They probably hired them because they'd seen their work before and have liked what they saw, and they wanted the person to repeat that work. Now, there are deadlines, right? But, nobody's going to ask you, like, how long is it going to take you to do this? They're just going to say, we need this done within this time frame. And then you have to scramble and think about, like, okay, what can I do in that time frame, right? And so, I'll take the Sculpt off as an example, which is part of the reason why I participate in it. And that is that I have 3 hours in the Sculpt off to do something, right? And I know that they want some sort of a finished image. They want certain things to kind of conform, like they want it to conform to what the subject matter is, which in this case, I don't know how it did conform to a playing card. But the point is, you have 3 hours and you have to basically time yourself to be able to get that done in 3 hours. Now, if you're working on a project and you don't get it done in 3 hours and you get it done in 5 or 10, I don't think they're going to mind. And if they have a deadline that depends on your work, you will know what that is, and you will try and get it in before then. But I've seen things take longer than they should. I've seen things kind of not be done in the time frame that the artist said it'll be done, and production has not been very happy about it. But eventually, they'll either put somebody on it to help you finish it, or they'll just take it off your plate and give it to somebody else. Because if you're not finishing it on time, that means maybe you have something else you're working on, or I don't know, maybe it's not really your thing. For example, there was a project where I had to do a bunch of clothing for a character, and I also had to do some detail work on the character as well. It was a 3D scan, and there was no way I was going to get it done. So I basically told them, okay, there's no way I'm getting this done in the time you want me to. If you guys want the clothes within this time frame, you have to hire somebody else to do it. And they did. They just contracted somebody to do the clothing. Not all of it, just some of it. And then I did the rest of everything, and it worked out. So it wasn't like, if you're, if the people you work with trust you, they'll realize, they'll understand that certain things are happening and certain things are not. And also, we're not like robots, right? I mean, sometimes it takes us more to do something than other times. So, so I think, focusing on that should not be your primary concern. I think your primary concern is to be good. If you're good, the rest is, is negotiable in a way. Right, so hopefully that answers your question. Okay, so Comics Legend, you're asking about booleans, and okay, so let's say, let me do a boolean example here. Let's say I just go in here, and I'll just go into my primitives here, and let's say we do a cube. Erolc at EROLC Erolc 82. Does that answer your question? Sorry, it's probably not the answer you want to hear. The answer you want to hear is, oh, it'll take me 1 week. But that's not true. Okay, so I've got this box, right? And then I'm going to create another one. So just append another one of these, and But a lot of times people ask you, like, how long does it take you, just to kind of see if they want to hire you. If somebody's asking that, then there's two things that are happening. One is that they're too cheap to pay you well, and they're basically shopping for somebody that'll do it in less time so they can pay them less. And I don't know if you want to work with people like that, because they are not going to respect what you do, and they're after getting something done as cheap as possible. So I would kind of take that with a grain of salt. I mean, you know, it's fair for them to ask how long it's going to take, but if they are expecting you to do more, or they're asking too many questions about how long it's going to take and how much you charge by the hour and everything like that, then they're bargain hunters. And in my experience, people like that, you know, it's not fun to work with people like that. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to subtract one of these from the other. So I'm going to start the Boolean. Actually, I'm just going to do my Boolean trick here, which is I usually create a folder. So I keep the existing parts, right? And I put both of the parts in here, right? And then, so this is going to be subtractive part. And let's turn log Boolean on so we can see what's going on here. Do I have the right thing being subtracted? I don't have the right thing being subtracted. Let me just make sure. Okay, so this is the start, and this is a positive piece, yeah. And then this one is going to be, oh, I chose intersect. Okay, sorry. All right, so this is what the subtraction is going to look like, okay. And all right, so when I do this, it's going to mess up the geometry. Now, the most important thing to note is you want to make sure that whatever you're booleaning has a similar poly count, okay? So here, if I look at these two boxes, I can see that their poly count is kind of the same, or the breakdown of the cube. And here I'm just going to take an example here, and I'm going to divide this a few times. So I divided this 6 times. And I'm going to duplicate the the divided one, and I'm going to take this one and then just bring it back, subdivision 1, and then delete lower or delete higher. Okay, so if I Boolean these two right now, so if I just go and say Boolean folder, now the reason why if I do it this way, it's cool, is that first of all it puts the Boolean object here, right? And so this is the Boolean object, and you can see that what it did here, right, the Boolean in the corners that it did are actually, you know, they're the same size. Whereas if I did it the other way, and I'll do this one now, so I'll just pick this and this, the one that I subdivided a lot. We won't look at this one. Okay, so I've got these two visible now, right? Okay, and then remember this one is subdivided all the way to 6. I'm going to delete the lower levels, so now you can see it's really dense. And now if I do the Boolean, okay, so I get this other shape over here. Now this was the one from before, and look at how kind of not too bad these edges are. Oops. And then if I go to the one I just did, so you see here what's going on is that the inside part has, looks like it has some problems as well. Like there's some things on top of each other. And then look at all the different spans over here. So it doesn't really create a good Boolean. If you have something that has, let me turn my Boolean off. So you can see this one's really dense topologically, and then this one is not, or this one right here is not, right? So this is kind of, you know, one that has bigger polygons, and what's being subtracted from it is something that has smaller polygons. Now to get this to work better, what you would have to do is subdivide this so that it looks like it's as dense as this, and then do your Boolean, and then you'll get a good Boolean. All right, so as far as retopologizing, so here, the good news is I've got polygroups. So what I could do is I could just go to ZBrush. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to do ZBrush, and the target poly count is going to be almost about the same. I want to keep the groups, and I don't want to smooth the groups at all. So I don't want any smoothing. And I want it to detect edges because this is hard surface, and then we'll just go ahead and ZBrush this. And now you can see I just have a really perfect retopology happening with this. I mean, of course, this is a cube, so it's not as difficult. And I mean, there are some things where I am not happy with. For example, here, I don't like this kind of going up. I would rather it went straight through. And then this one kind of has a little bit of that too. So what you can do to fix that, it's pretty simple. I'm going to turn perspective off and just go and oops, unmask this part right here. Make sure the bottom is masked. Oops. And then move your gizmo to where you want that to be and just straighten it out. Oops. Didn't want to rotate it and didn't want to save. Okay, just a second. All right, so now this is straight the way it should be. And I think I would need to do the same here. Right, and I'm going to turn symmetry on, so I just have to do it once. Again, this, and then just move the gizmo to where the straight line is, and just do the resize. Okay, I think I need to turn on local symmetry and this one more time. Okay, so here's the situation where this isn't working the way I want it to. Even if I have local symmetry on, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so what I would do in this case is I just do one side, turn symmetry off, just do one side like this, and I'm grabbing every single thing that's not the right one. Okay, so I got this working right on this side, and then I just mirror and weld it over. Okay, and then that's the same, and then I might do that for this one too. I mean, it's just minor stuff to do, but you can see that the topology is pretty sound. ZK Design, thank you very much. Do I do also after line Boolean panels? Well, it depends, right? It depends on the panel lines, but yeah, sometimes you do need to do cleanup afterwards. Like if you're doing Boolean panel lines or something like that, or if you're using Boolean Bevel Pro, then you probably do want to go in and do cleanup afterwards. But again, I find that in a lot of instances, Zero Mesher works really good. But the thing again to remember when you are doing Booleans is make sure that the density, the mesh density of both pieces you're Booleaning are as close to each other as possible. And if you have that, then you'll get some good Boolean results. All right, so hopefully that answers that question. A bit of a tangent, but a good one. Right. Just delete all here. Okay, and then I'll just delete these two. Yeah, see, I mean, this one's kind of a bit of a mess, and if I zero mesh this one, let's just try it just for kicks. I hope I don't crash, but let's do it. So let's go for half, zero mesh adaptive, keep groups, detect edges, and let's do it. Right, this might work well. Okay, here we go. I mean, it's denser, but it did do it. Right, so, I mean, you can sometimes get away with it. I mean, in this case, it's kind of a simple shape, so it did really well. But sometimes when it's complicated like that and you've got low resolution and high resolution, you get issues. Okay, going back to our robot. I was doing some things with the head, and let's see here. I don't know if I like this piece that much. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm gonna make the decision not to use this piece. I'm just gonna delete it. And although this kind of looks cool, I'm gonna delete that as well. I don't think it's working. And then these guys, I might move them further down. Something like that. Sometimes I move to start using the mouse and I just forget and I can't stay on the mouse. Want to have a great tablet going here. Okay, and then this one, same thing. All right, this I'm going to get rid of. All right, I'm getting kind of a sense of something that I like. I don't want to show this one yet, but I'm getting the sense of something I like, which is maybe moving this back. All right, let's let that autosave. So yeah, when you're asking about do I use this method when I apply pan lines, the answer is I you know, that's my first way of trying to do it. If I can get away with doing it with Dynamesh, that would be my first choice because it's just easy and quick. But if that doesn't work, then I do have to manually do it, which, you know, it's not that bad. Right, I don't think I'm going to keep this one either, even though it's kind of a neat piece. And then what about this guy? I might just completely get away from using this piece. But let's see if it adds anything to the main look. Kind of does. All right, I might need to do some modifications to this because I've got this lip here, which I don't really want. So I'm just going to use QMesh. Let's see, QMesh. Right. What? Okay. But yeah, yeah, the Sculpt off was definitely fun. I was thinking of doing the normal one as well, but when they invited me, I'm like, all right, I guess I'll do this one. If you've never done it, I highly recommend it. It's a good way to kind of get some good kind of pressure sculpting time done. I think just the pressure of having to do it adds a lot to your skill. So all right, I'm liking what this did, so I'm going to stick to it. And then let's see with this. I was thinking maybe doing two, kind of like rabbit ears. Let's add one on the other side. And see. This would work. Yeah, you know, it's so funny. During my college days, I took an industrial design course, and it was using CAD software, of course, and my project was an F-117 fighter jet, and I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's a pretty nice, you know, it's a pretty interesting looking jet, and the teacher was like, "Oh, well, that's a really simple thing to model." but I did it with booleans and in a very, very cool way. And I got an A in the course just because of the way I did it, not the subject matter. The guy's like, okay, well, you know, this is an easy thing to make. That's not really the reason why you got an A. And he was a pretty hard teacher too. He's like, you got an A because of the way you did it. And I did it with booleans. And so it, you know, it took me very little time, and you know, there was no YouTube. I didn't have a video of me doing it, so I actually had a paper that I wrote as to how I did it, and that blew them away. And so I got an A in the course. It was fun. This is ages ago. All right, so this is looking really kind of neat here. Let's see. I did some work on the legs, but I don't know. Let's see here. Do I have the legs in a separate section? These are the feet. Definitely will do some work on the feet today. And I think I did do some work on the legs. I thought I... Where are these pieces? Oh, okay. Yeah, so one of the things that I liked is I liked these pieces that I did here. And what I wanted to do is duplicate the split mask points. And I want to use these in the leg area as well. So I think they're cool shapes. I might opt to go for these instead of what I have. Again, see, I reverted to using my mouse to remind myself. All right. Are semi-imagined on reality motor parts and articulation like gas struts or hydraulics? Yeah, so yes and no. So I've actually worked on robots before. I worked on the Toyota one that they had. I don't know if it's their latest one, but they had a robot that they were going to show off during the Japan Olympics. And they had an ad with it in it, and I had to take the CAD data and make it into an animatable model, and I did. And so I actually got to see how that robot was made and how the articulation happens and everything. And honestly, they're pretty simple. It's not that complex. Like if you start breaking it down, you know, just like everything else, there's the, you know, part where the brain is, and okay, what is this? What is this? Okay, it's the area. Okay, I'm actually going to get rid of this piece. And this one. I'm going to do something different. So yeah, I mean, it's, you know, they're really very simple to put together. I mean, there's definitely certain things that are common. But one of the things you learn when you work on industrial robots is, and this is something that a lot of people get wrong, and that is that, you know, there are a lot of standard pieces. So what I mean by that is, like here, this part is here, it's over here on its arm, it's over here as well. So it's being used in a lot of different places. And with real robots, it's like that too. Like there is definitely, just one second here, I want to make sure I'm on the right tool. Yep, and split mouse points. Okay, back to this guy over here. So yeah, so there's a lot of reused parts. A lot of things are the same size. So, you know, like they don't really, you know, when I look at some robots, for example, and like really good, you know, designers as well, I look at their robots and they have the thing, and then they have a different size. Like they would have this, but then they'd have like a thinner version of it. Here, I'll do it. Like they'll have this and then they'll have this, right? So it's kind of like, you know, there's a shape and there's a different shape, but they, you know, that wouldn't really happen in real life. Like you wouldn't have something that is the same be a different size, if that makes any sense. Like similar parts would be the same size, they wouldn't be a different size. All right, let's see if I can make this work. All right, so now I've got a conundrum of how to make this work. Let's bring in the previous piece. But yeah, I think, you know, I mean, yeah, of course, there's always fantasy and getting things to kind of look interesting. There's always that aspect of it. But also, there are certain kind of unwritten rules that you need to follow when you're making robotics. Let's see here. I don't know. You know, that's a good question. I think my adage is, and I'll show you in some of the things that I'm doing, or some of my work. So if you guys want to see my work, you can just go to my website, kermaco.com. So KERMACO.com. Actually, the best thing you could do is just go to my Instagram. And I don't know why this isn't showing it. Here, I'll do it. Instagram. Right, so just go to my Instagram here, and this is where all of my latest work is, right? So I've been kind of doing some xenomorphy type of things, some Giger type of stuff. But like here's a perfect example of it. And I did this during the stream as well. So if you look at this part here, you know, there are a little bit of things that are exposed, like, you know, some little lines here to where this light would come off, or this little vent over here, or this light piece and whatnot. But, you know, if you get the major shapes going, then to do cut lines or to add additional pieces, you can do that. But if you look at my mechs, and again, if you go to my Instagram, the best thing to do is if you click on this link tree, it gives you all of my sites. So here's my portfolio. And let's go to this mech right here. All right, so if you look at this guy, right? And if you look at kind of the exposed parts, I mean, there's very little, like this piston here is exposed. I don't know if this was a real, you know, gun mech. Like if I would have something like this exposed, I would probably have some sort of shielding around this so that nothing can hit it, right? Because if a bullet takes out this piston, this leg is done for, and the mech is pretty much static, right? So I'd have more covering on it. And if I, you know, but here, you know, I didn't choose to do it just because it looks cool to have this piston show, right? If I look at a different mech here, now let's look at this one. Where are you? Right, for this one, I mean, it's more like warlike. You know, I covered up this knee here with like a heavy plating. This is heavy plating, so bullets could hit all of this. You see, there's a shielding over here. So bullets could be hitting all these parts and nothing would happen to it, right, because it's protected. But then on this arm, which I don't know if you can see it, there's an arm here. But this arm has a lot of displayed stuff. And I'm assuming if it does get hit, then it's basically, you know, that's it. It's done for. Anyway, this was such an old piece. I've done it, like it was 10 years ago, maybe even longer when I did this mech. All right, let's look at another one. I've got one more mech here. Let's look at this one, which is more of a mech that is on a very low gravity area. So this is not fighting other mechs. This is just shooting meteors out of the sky in a planet that does not have a atmosphere that protects it from meteors or meteorites. So these mechs just, like they could be protecting a scientific station or something like that, and they just have these guns that shoot out meteors from the sky. So here, for example, I have some things showing, but a lot of it is just paneling on the outside. So with most robots nowadays, they want to cover things up as much as possible and not show stuff. So here, for example, I'm very tempted to make this part here bigger, right? But I'm not going to, because again, I'm choosing to have all these parts be the same, right? Because they basically have a function. Maybe this part here rotates left and right or to a certain degree, and that's it. So I want them to be have the same kind of functionality, and the company could just buy a few of these and put them in put them together and make them work on the same robot. They wouldn't have to re-engineer every single part, and even if they do, it probably wouldn't even look the same. I'm trying to see a way to fit this into our equation. We might need to get rid of it and do it over. We'll see. Well, I mean, it's Dynamesh. I could probably just mess with it. All right. But yeah, it's a constant balance between, believability and I'm just going to delete by symmetry here and just have work on one part side and then do the other one. But yeah, it's a constant struggle between believability and functionality, right? And coolness. So it could look very functional, but it could not look cool, or it could look very cool but not be believable functionally. And in a lot of movies, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of stuff that looks cool, but there's no way it would work. And it all depends on whether, the story sells it or not. I'm really upset because there's a lot of situations where, they're cool mechs, but they don't show up in detail. Like, they don't really spend a lot of times looking at the mech models. They just, make them move fast. A good example of that is the Transformers movies. Like, that stuff would never work. Like, there's no way something that busy could work unless it's using some sort of, nanotechnology that will make it morph and whatnot. But it's, the designs are very, entertainment focused, not, feasible focused. But we are living in a time where there are a lot of robots being built, and robotics is kind of alive and kicking. So most robots seem to be covered with some sort of a mesh cloth. And some of them you can see underneath or inside, and some you can't. Excuse me. All right. Yeah, and animating robots is kind of tough to do too. Like, there's only a few companies that do it right. like I said, I just saw Predator Borderlands, which again was a really, really good movie. I did not expect it to be that good, and a friend of mine just said, "Hey, do you want to go see it?" And on a whim, I said yes. I know it was getting good reviews, but it really wasn't on my radar, even though I tend to see those kinds of movies. And I was really blown away on how good it was. But there's a scene at the end where there is a kind of a industrial mech, and they didn't show much of it. Like, they kind of showed it a little bit, but I could tell like they were having problems either animating it or with something with how it was moving didn't work right. So it was, they hid it behind a lot of lens flares and kind of, a lot of it was in the shadows. It didn't really show up well a lot. So I think if you're a mech designer, you definitely have to worry about how things work. And at one of the schools I teach at Art Center, there's actually a course of that just goes how things work. That's the name of the course. And a good friend of mine used to teach it. I don't know if he's still there. But yeah, it's important to kind of know how things work when you're building, you're doing concept design, because it has to somehow be believable. And good concept designers just, they do that instinctively. But yeah, we've been, it's obligatory for me to mention it, but we've been having a lot of rain in LA. We've been had thunder and lightning last night. It was wild. All right. All right, let's see. Let's mirror this over to the other side. Nope. Not on its own. Here we go. If I work on the outside, it's cool, but when I start working on the inside part, if I have symmetry on, interesting things happen with symmetry. All right, that's looking better. All right, let's do some work on these feet that look just horrible. All right, so here you can see, like on this thigh over here, I probably will have to, at some point after I get it to do what I wanted it to do, like the shape of it, I probably need to either ZBrush it or I would need to retopo it. I might be able to get away with ZBrushing it. We'll see. All right. And I don't know if it's in this one, or I think I did do a build of this where I actually had, maybe it is here, torso, or not, it could be not. But I did a thing where I actually put some mesh cloth on top of some of these parts, and it made it look cool. Let's see, where is this? Do I need that part? Sometimes I hide parts and I don't remember what they were for, but this one I think I do. For something like this, I'm going to change the color of it. object, and then let's go back to white. Right. So one of the things I'm thinking of doing is doing an online class with Noman on mech design. And I expressed my interest to them, and they said they are interested. So I might do that. I might just teach a one-off course online on mech design. What's going on with this guy? Again, these are really low poly, so I haven't really dynameshed them or done anything with them yet. I'm just basically seeing where they could, you know, sit. All right, I'm kind of getting really happy with this. Here, let's put our latest version on here. All right. I think I did have a different version of this with the hexapods and everything, but I guess not. Yeah, I do have a further developed version of this. I don't know if I'm on the right version, because I had ones where I put hexapods down here as well, and I don't think they're there now. Wonder what happened to that one. Okay, what's this? All right, still hand stuff. Okay. I have this piece right here, which is a chest shield. Okay, yeah, I did have a thing where I had all the shields and everything. Did I like lose that one? Maybe. All right, here I'm just going to quick save this and see if I loaded the latest version of this file. It should be. Yeah, no, it is. I wonder if at some point I did work on it but had a crash. Because what I remember I did is I put these hexapods on the legs too. So let me see if I can redo that way. Because it worked really well. It kind of looked cool. Yeah, I think I have a whole version of this somewhere. Was it a tool? Maybe I saved it as a tool. I doubt that, but let me check anyway. No. Nope. All right. I might have just quick saved it and forgot about it. Let's see if it's in my lightbox. Quick saves. No. All this is the stuff from the Sculpt off. So even if I had it as a quick save, it would have been gone. All right, not a problem. Easy enough to do it again. So here I'm just going to duplicate this. And uh-oh. Oh. Cancel. See, sometimes if you're on the whole folder, it tries to do the whole folder, and that's not what I want to do. I just want to do this thing. Duplicate. Let's take that out. And I was looking to see like if I could use this here instead somehow. Because I think it'd be cool to use a hexapod kind of in a situation like this, and roll it to the other side. Yeah, that would create a cool thing. So I'm going to hide these pistons for now and see if I can just do this with the hexapods. So the interesting thing is that the models in Doom, the latest Doom, are really, really well done. And one of the things that I kind of really enjoyed seeing is when I'm looking at the models, they have just leave that there for now. And this shield, I want to hide it as well. They have like these sculptures throughout the game that are basically like the people who made the models just have them in the game like as statues, and they look pretty cool. So that was really nice to see. So in addition to making the game assets, the artist had some fun just making the statues kind of the subjects, of the game characters, and it was really neat. And I'm really kind of doing a departure here from what I wanted to before, but it's looking cool, so I'm going to go with it. Problem with the hexapod is like, how close to each other are they? I think that's good. Something like that. And I'm just gonna, this is kind of a trick that I learned from Ridley Scott, which is if something's not working, just turn it all the way around. And the way I learned it is because in Blade Runner, the original one, when he goes to Tyrell's office, or his boardroom or whatever, where he interviews Rachel, they have these columns that are there, and they look pretty neat. And apparently they were up, the ornate part was on top, and the cameras weren't even seeing them. And so Ridley Scott just said, okay, take these columns and put them upside down, and it worked really well. That's why the man is a legend. Right. Again, getting these kind of legs to somehow work. And they're still Dynamesh, so I can always re-Dynamesh them. I'm a little bit out of it today just because yesterday I got an immunization shot, and it made me tired for the day. I'm feeling better now than I did this morning, that's for sure, though. Almost thought not to do the stream, but it's been a while and I really was looking forward to this. All right. Again, a lot of this is just chiseling away, trying to get an interesting shape. I did do a lot of work on these parts before, but I've kind of, again, since I haven't worked on this project for a while, I forgot kind of what the intent was. So I'm just picking up where I left off and doing whatever I can to re-establish shape. All right. I haven't really been seeing too many movies lately, but what else did I see? I saw something else that was good. Not science fiction, but yeah. But yeah, I was really pleasantly surprised with the Predator movie. That was pretty cool. I also liked Prey. That was kind of a streaming one. That was really good too. So, you know, the Predator people are making good movies. They really are. What does this robot do? Well, I think it's kind of more of a, I think we started out saying it's a kind of a self-defense robot. So it's not a self-defense, it's just a defense robot. So it would like protect a motorcade or, you know, I mean, I'm making it humanoid, so it's general purpose, right? But the kind of the inspiration for this thing came from a movie that I watched that had these robots that were really cool, and it had a really good like fight scene happening in it, and the new Captain America is in the movie. I don't remember the name of the movie. It was like something Line, or I can find out. But I watched that movie, and that robot fight scene really kind of was very inspirational. So I thought I'd make kind of a general purpose looking robot, but basically the whole point is that it would be kind of either like some sort of a soldier robot, or a, you know, like you know, defending a motorcade, or you know, a military column or something like that. So it's a defense robot basically. I'm a little bit disappointed with a lot of the designs of the robots that are coming out. It's just like so like, I don't know if they have designers designing these things or if it's just engineers, because they look very engineered. They don't look designed. And I'd love to work with some of these companies to design their robots. I should apply. I did apply to a few places. Never heard back. I don't know if, you know, applying is like what it used to be like before. I think chances are nobody even sees your stuff. You know, AI weeds it out. I had a friend of mine tell me the other day that, you know, you need to use certain terms while you're applying. And one of the terms that people used to use all the time was CG generalist. And I guess this is really not a title. So he changed it to something else, and he got more people contacting him. So, you know, it's not just what you do that matters. It's, you know, it's how you work with some of the new changes in the industry. I went to Lightbox. I presented at the Maxon booth. It was fun. I did a couple of demos on Saturday and Sunday, and the mood was really funky. I mean, it just seems to me like a lot of young people are coming into this business expecting things to be different than they are. And then you've got veterans that have like not had work for a while. So it was a weird juxtaposition. It's always good to see people you haven't seen for a while. I always like going to Lightbox. I think it's one of the, if not the best, yearly event. I think between that and SIGGRAPH, I go to all those. DesignerCon I used to go to when it was in LA, but since it moved to Las Vegas, it's kind of a boondoggle to go. Right, here I'm getting into the weeds where I shouldn't be doing that. I just need to get a general shape to work here. I think I pretty much almost have it. Just have to work on the details. Okay. All right, so this is the kind of thing that happens. You're like doing your robot and then you go like, okay, legs look too short. So now I need to make the legs longer. And the best way to do that is to, there's certain parts that won't scale. Like for example, so here I'll just go to W, do the pizza boxes, right? And then these guys over here, I can just move down. Oop. Did not want to do the arms or these guys. All right, so these guys I could move down just to kind of get a better ratio. I think this looks good right here. And for this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate these guys, split mouse points, and again, just repurpose. This piece like so. I think I might have gone a little bit overboard with the length of this thing. Again, this pizza box business is really useful. The ability just to move all these parts together. All right, here we go. All right, proportionally that looks a lot better, and I think it's kind of coming together really well. All right, let's see what we can do with these feet. Again, this is just a Dynamesh piece. All right, so see, I'm going to be doing this kind of on the inside, and it's just not going to work. So I delete by symmetry, you know, do whatever I need to do, and then just mirror and weld it over. Yeah, if you get work doing these things, don't charge by the hour. I think the best thing to do to kind of measure yourself is just give yourself a project, like give yourself a project like maybe a Mac or something, and then take the time to put it together. And then you can then gauge how long it's taking you and to get to the quality you want. Right? So when an employer asks you how long is it going to take you, best thing to do is to give them the honest answer. because the last thing you want to do is tell them it's going to take sooner and not be able to deliver, or tell them it's going to take too long, and then they'll be like, well, you know, the last guy we hired, they did it in this much time, and you know, why is yours so much different? Usually if they like your work, if the quality is good, they'll ask you about the timing. But I've never seen anybody not get hired because they're good at what they do, but they take their time. If what you do is really, really good, they'll figure out a way to accommodate you and your timing. In one studio that I worked at, there was one guy who was working on lead characters, and it took him about 2 months to do a lead character. Just one character, 2 months. And that's just the design of it. It's not even the rigging and the modeling and all that. And there was somebody else who was churning out NPCs, like churning out a person a day. So, you know, it depends on what you do. All right, I'm still kind of trying to make these feet work. I think the problem with the feet is that, and I'll fix it. This needs to move up higher. And then I need another cylinder to go here. So I'm going to use my cylinder kit. And again, this is something that you can purchase. I've got these on Gumroad. So if you, again, go to my Instagram and go to my link tree, it links to my Gumroad. And these are the things I have for sale. So if nothing else, definitely get this primitives kit. It's free. And then you can also get my UI colors. That's free as well. If you guys want to leave a tip, that's great. Somebody just left me a tip on the colors, which is, I think, the first one I've ever gotten for that. So thank you, whoever that was. And also I've got this cylinder kit bash kit, which I'm going to be using now. And then I've got one that's loops and rings. And I'm working on another one. And maybe I can do it over the holidays and get it done. But yeah. All right, where did this go? There it is. Okay, so what I want to do is let's append here or insert one of these guys, and let's pick something for it. So yeah, the cylindrical kit is really, really useful. It's got all sorts of cylindrical shapes, some screws, some bolts, caps, all sorts of very useful pieces. And here I'm just looking for maybe it's going to be something of an ankle. Let's choose something interesting like that. Okay, let's unify this thing. This way. Now these are all really nice, good topology. All these are like, you know, just enough topology to hold that shape. And here I'll solo it out. You can see here that this is topologically sound. It's all quads. It's polygrouped. It's really kind of a lot of the work's been done for you. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make this into this ankle like that, but I want it to be on both sides. So here, I'm just going to extend this out like this, and then let's do a local symmetry, and let's do a mirror and weld. Let's see what we get. Oh, of course, it's the other way around. And Okay, mirror and weld. Okay, that's good, but we want a little bit more here. Okay, it's just going to do it locally. Let's see if this works. Nope. Yeah, I'll just do it with world symmetry, mirror and weld. Okay, close, mirror and weld. A little bit more. Okay, so mirror and weld. Now I've got basically this shape. That's exactly what I want. So that's the other thing that's nice about my Kit Bash kits, is you can make other things with them as well. So this is just going to be like a swiveling ankle piece, I guess. Let's see if I can make this work better. Something like that. All right, let's mirror and weld this to the other side. Okay, cool. All right, so here's an example of something that I was talking about earlier. I've got this hinge over here, this kind of hinge joint, and then I've got this over here, and there's no way that they would have two different ones here. So I need to make a hard choice of choosing one over the other. And I think I like my new one more, so I'm going to pick this one. Let's make sure that's the one I have, and delete it. And then take this, and using Control, just duplicate it and bring it over here. Now here's another big mistake that I could make. I could make this bigger, just because I need a bigger kind of joint over there. But if I do that, then there's two of the same thing in different sizes, and that's a definite no-no for me. Like, that's something that I definitely don't think is the right thing to do, because with all the robots, real-life robots I've worked on, they are all you know, standard sizes. So here I just need to get this to work. Mirror, mirror, and weld. Oops. The one time I didn't. Okay, here we go. And this is the size. That's the winning size. So I'm going to invert that, and I'm going to delete these guys, and then this is what is going to be duplicated for the ankle. Right, so I've got the same piece, exact same size, and that kind of makes it more believable, because in real life that's what they would do, is they would basically use the same parts as much as possible, so they don't have to engineer new parts and build new parts. Okay, so this can go over here like that. All right, it's coming along. Yeah, I mean, if I were really going to build this, like if this was going to be something that was going to be used in a movie or something like that, I would have to, and I might do that. I might pose it. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. Like I said, I'm lucky to be awake because of the vaccination that I had. But yeah, so like I probably will group these things and try and do some sort of a pose with it at some point. So I do need it to work. I'm not going to animate it, of course. If anybody is an animator and wants to animate it, I'll be happy to work with you on it. But I'm not going to animate it. I'm just going to maybe get some good key poses out of it. And that's kind of going to be the final, few days of this season, which I don't know if I'm going to end by the end of this year. Hopefully I will. We'll see. It's funny, when I started out, I mean, there's a lot of people on here that basically do a project a week. But I'm noticing that a lot of them are kind of doing multi-part projects now, which is good. meaning they're taking a few more, you know, episodes to finish a piece. And then just finishing, you know, getting it to a stage in 2 hours and then leaving it there. All right, let's see. The silhouette looks pretty good. I'm liking how the silhouette looks. I can make this bigger too. Now, one of the other things is, like, if this was going to be in a game, it's good because it's a silhouette that could be easily recognized. I think that these two ears do it the justice that it needs. And then let's fix this part over here a little bit. Malcolm, you're an animator and you'd like to work with it? All right, yeah. Send me an email and we'll see what we can do. Because basically, you know, this is not you know, there's no weight painting required for this. It's just going to be rigged mechanically, and there'll probably be a few kind of parts that need to be articulated. But yeah, it'd be really cool to kind of get kind of my imagined scene with this thing, which is basically it kind of walking with a rifle, and then just switching arms from one side to the next. I think that's the thing that blew me away watching the, was it called Point Break? No, it wasn't called Point Break. It was like Line Break or something like that. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. Because it's a good movie. If you guys haven't seen it, you should check it out. If you are a mech fan or a robot fan, let me see here. Captain America, IMDb. And it's Anthony Mackie's the actor, and the name of the movie is Outside the Wire. Yeah, I totally missed it, but yeah, it's called Outside the Wire, and here is the IMDb of it, and I wonder if they do have any of the pictures in the photos of the robots I'm talking about. Yeah, it was a pretty good movie. I liked it a lot. Oh, I think I had... Okay, this is it. So these are the robots, and then they start walking in, right? And he's holding the gun this way, and then he completely mirrors the action to the other side as they're getting close. And I thought that was a really, really cool kind of dynamic. Let's see if there's more of them. Oh, here was another one. Yeah, so you can kind of see that this is the inspiration for it. This is, I think, the bad guy robot. And then there was a scene where, yeah, I think this is the bad guy robot too. But yeah, yeah, these are the good guy robots. So yeah, they basically change the arm from one side to the next. I'd like to do that animation. I thought that would be really cool. And this is the scene where they're getting out of the truck. So it worked out pretty good. So this is kind of the inspiration for this piece is these robots from here. Yeah, the movie was interesting. You know, definitely worth checking out if you haven't. Here's what's funny. I forgot the name already. Certain things, like, I can't remember what the name is. What was it? Something wire. Outside the wire. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, that's true. I'm getting excited about seeing Avatar, and that looks like it's got some really interesting robots. I mean, the designers who designed the stuff for Avatar are top notch. They're really good guys. So it's going to be interesting to see if it holds up. I'm sure it will. James Cameron knows how to make a good movie. Yeah, Malcolm, send me an email anytime. I mean, you know, we don't have to wait until it's done to start rigging it and animating it. We can, you know, you can get going on earlier builds. Unless you want to wait, in which case that's fine too. All right, here I'm just establishing a good plane for this. You like the one with the water? Yeah, I mean, that was some of the best water simulation I've ever seen. It was really impressive. I just got bothered by the story a little bit because it was like, you know, okay, so the kids are caught, but then the kids are rescued, but then the kids are caught again, and then they're rescued, and it was just like a lot of that back and forth. And I think in any movie, you know, one rescue too many just ruins it. You know what I mean? So it's just like, oh, the kids got, you know, the dang kids went out and got caught again. You know, like, and then one of them died, and it's horrible. This one looks like there's, you know, some interesting new characters in it. So it's going to be interesting to see what we get. Trying to grab this orange part inside. Here we go. I don't think we even need this piece. All right, let's get rid of it. Then what's this one? Split to similar parts. I don't know, lately I think if I see a movie that I'm not expecting it to be good and it is really good, like I saw Tron Ares and it was okay. It wasn't like, wow, this is such a great, incredibly amazing movie. I mean, I love the Tron world, so don't get me wrong, I was happy they made it. But I went in with higher expectations and it was okay. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. But Predator Badlands, I went in with like really low expectations. I was thinking it's going to be a horrible movie. And I was kind of like, even before I went in, I was like, oh man, is this going to be worth wasting an afternoon over? And I was like, wow, they did a really good job with this thing. The story was good. The effects were good. It was just a good movie. And the Predator in it got like a lot of flack. Like I remember when they had the first previews, people were like, "Oh, this new Predator looks horrible," and blah blah blah. But it wasn't too bad. What was wild is that they were developing the Predators kind of, in the previous movies, the Predators were like these, enemies or whatever. And this one, they really get into understanding what they are. And what's funny is that they have a language and everything, and the entire time I was thinking this sounds a lot like Klingon. Okay, I think I'm getting to a point where I'm starting to fade, so I think I might call this one a little bit early. Let's see, I can go for another 10 minutes. What's wild is I didn't even get a chance to watch all the ZBrush Summit videos. I still have a few I haven't seen that I have to go back to. It's always good to watch those, and there have been some really good ones over the years. ZBrush Summit presentations, there's always great stuff in them and you always learn a lot. I did present at one of them one year. It was fun. Right after COVID. Klingons versus Predator. Yeah, that would be awesome. I think that I'd go see that. The Ferengi would be the people who basically set up the fight. Interestingly enough, my first ZBrush teacher was Ryan Kingsline, and he used to teach at Gnomon. And when I went to take a ZBrush course, he was teaching it. So my intro to ZBrush was taught by him. And I learned the things that he was using in at the ZBrush Summit. The things that he was doing were all things that I'd learned from him back then, which says a lot about his his kind of development, because he is somebody who basically focuses on doing things a certain way. And even though ZBrush has evolved over time and is capable of doing other things, the way Ryan uses it is the way he used to use it back then in a lot of ways. So he uses the same brushes, he uses the same mentality, and his thing is more about anatomy and figure sculpting, and so he definitely knows his stuff in that area. It's funny because he's not just an anatomy person, even though, you know, that is kind of his thing. I think he definitely is somebody who does sculpting a certain way. And that has not changed over the years. I think, you know, I mean, I'm sure he's learned a lot more than before, but the way he works is very similar to the way he did back then, which is not a bad thing, actually. It's a really good thing that he does that. So yeah, I was lucky enough to take his class when he was teaching it. I took his class and then I took Maddie Spencer's class, and both of them were really good. And I mean, ZBrush didn't do half of what it does today in those days. Like, we were so dependent on Maya. And most of the students, they were like, why are you taking ZBrush? Maya's where it's at. And I was like, no, you guys don't know. ZBrush is really cool. I think a lot of those folks still use Maya, though. They're Maya people. I think there are certain people that basically just gravitate towards a certain type of software. So I definitely see the kind of person that's attracted to Blender and Maya, and a different kind of person that's attracted to ZBrush. I think it's, you know, it's a different creative process. I mean, I know both really well. I just prefer ZBrush to Maya. Like, sometimes when I get a job, you know, it could be a Maya job, and that's fine. I mean, I need to make a living, so I'll do the work in Maya, but I try to see if I can do it in ZBrush. Sometimes they have it, sometimes they don't. The companies I work for, so, you know, I always kind of take in my own laptop. And now I could do it on an iPad too, so that makes it even better. But sometimes they've got really kind of closed pipelines, so I can't inject anything into it. So I have to do the thing in Maya, which is fine. It's just so frustrating because, the tools in ZBrush have gotten so much better and more modern, and Maya's kind of still stagnating. I mean, they do make changes. It's not horrible, but I don't think there's been anything big innovative in Maya forever. And that was my fear of when Maxon bought ZBrush, that I thought the same was going to happen, but they've done so many incredible new things in ZBrush. I don't think that's the case, and I'm really happy about that. Personally, that, you know, like, I remember the day I found out that Maxon's buying them, and I'm like, oh no, I hope they don't, raise the price of owning ZBrush and do nothing. And that's not been the case. I mean, they did an iPad version, which I thought was really cool. I like having it on the iPad. I tend to do a lot of work on the iPad when I'm not at my desk, and that's a welcome addition. And then the other thing that they did is, all the new additions that they have. The Retopo brush, I think, is really cool. Redshift integration is not where I want it to be yet, but I think they'll get there. And I don't know if you guys saw, but they're also going to introduce a new user interface. That seems interesting. And I can see why that was the case, because if you use it on the iPad, that UI is so much more modern than what's in the desktop version. So they're bringing some of that to the desktop, and I can't wait to see how that works. So there's a lot of quality of life stuff that they're doing, which I don't know if they would be able to do if they were still owned by, if they were still, not Maxon. So I'm kind of a little bit happy with this acquisition, more so than I thought I would be. All right, so here we got to do this again. Yeah, but I think there's going to be more mergers and acquisitions this year, for sure, in 2026. Specifically, a lot of AI companies and things like that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. AI is still going strong. I'm surprised. I was thinking there'd be some sort of a crash, but they're still doing it. They're still holding strong. I can't believe how much of our economy is tied to AI in the US. You still got to do his free tutorial, Brian's tutorial. Yeah, what are you waiting for? I'm sure it's pretty good. You'll learn a lot. All right, I don't know if I like this kind of thing that I did. It's kind of cool. Maybe not so much. I know what you mean about like having tutorials to watch. I've got a huge list of stuff that is in my kind of, to be watched tutorial list. There's a few on the Gnomon workshop I want to watch, and a few Blender ones that I definitely want to watch, but it's again, it's all about timing. All right, I think I'm liking this piece, and we're almost out of time here. So yeah, I think I'm going to continue on this robot next time, and I think I've got a few more in December. Let me make sure. So the best way to find out, I basically do one stream here on ZBrush Live on Friday, and then the next Friday I do it on my own YouTube channel, or on my own, Twitch channel. And again, to find out what that is, go to my where is it here? Go to my Instagram and my link tree, and that will link you to my YouTube channel. And on my YouTube channel, again, I've got this tutorial that I had on Gnomon Workshop. And since they gave the rights back to me, I have it here for you guys for free. So just go to the playlist. It's this one. And I've got 12 episodes in already. And this is, it shows you how I do research and how I generate my references. And then I have a few Oculus Medium sketching videos where I use Oculus Medium to do and that's not around anymore. It's Adobe Modeler now, but I still use Adobe Modeler the same way to do quick concepts. I can do like 20 of them in a very short period of time, and it's a very fast way of working. So you can watch that, and then I do refine the shape in ZBrush, and then model the different parts and whatnot. So this is a really good one to watch. Excuse me. I've got a few more videos to upload, and I'm doing 2 a week. So I think this week I did 4. I did 2 3 days ago, and then a couple 3 hours ago. So go watch that. And then if you want to find out when I'm streaming next, just go to ZBrush Live, calendar. And you can kind of see here who the different streamers are. And I guess I don't have one coming up. I might, I don't know if I'm going to do more. They just have until the end of November. They haven't put the December ones in yet, but I might do a couple in December. We'll see what the dates are. If it's holiday times, of course I won't, but if it's not, then I will do a couple more. And I think if I do a couple more, I'll get this robot pretty much where I want it. And then we can work on getting it articulated and in a pose or 2 for final images. Okay, so everybody, thank you very much for watching live. Acadian and quite a few of you stayed on. And again, remember to like and subscribe and do all that good stuff. And then tune in again in a couple of weeks if you want me to finish this thing, or if you want to see me working on my dragon and kind of medieval stuff, then watch my stream on Twitch, which will be next Friday. All right, with that, I wish everybody a good day, evening, or whatever time of day it is, and happy ZBrush.